Let's remove the threads from our home page and show a list of forums instead. Let's take a look at our home page mockup. These are forums grouped by category. Since we haven't worked on the categories yet, we can render all forums in a single group. I will copy the forum list element. Within the template of our forum list component, I will paste the HTML I copied from the mockup. I will collapse the divs using Command- to make it easier to grasp. Each element with class of forum listing displays one row with information related to one forum. So I will apply a v-for on this element, and I assume we will have a prop called forums that we can iterate on. Remember that we always have to apply a key when we are making an iteration in our template, and here the key will be the forum ID. Let's remove the other forum listing as we don't need it. Next, let's replace the dummy values with the real ones. Here we want to display forum's name, and here its description. Since it is too early to work with forum's last activity, I will empty the last thread div for now. We want the link to send the users to view the forum page. Thus, we can replace the A tag with a router link tag. The name of the route is forum, and it needs a parameter which is the ID of the forum. Be careful when typing a route's name. Route names are case sensitive, so if you write it with lowercase f, you will get an error. So, make sure to have the first letter of the word forum uppercase. The next element is the thread count. We can get the count using the length property of the forum threads array. Good. Here, it could be nice to use the word threads if there are multiple threads, but if there is only one, it would be nice to use the word thread instead. We can do that pretty fast directly in the template by using the ternary operator. So, inside the braces, we will say if threads count is equal to 1, then return thread. Otherwise, return threads. Let's give it some space. Great! Next, the text in the heading is the name of the category. Since we will display all the forums here, I will replace it with the word forums. Once we define the forums prop, we are good to go. The forums are required and type of array. Let's see what we have done by using forum list inside page home. I will replace every reference of thread list with forum list. Here, instead of threads, we want to pass it the forums, so I will try to also replace all the references of threads with the word forums. I think that's a cool way to refactor this. Let's test in the browser. Here we get some errors. Type error cannot read property length of undefined. This happens because some forums don't have any threads, and thus forum threads is not an array and .length breaks. To fix that, we can check if forum threads property exists, and if it does, we will return its length. Otherwise, we can return 0. We could do this using the ternary operator as we did for the thread word. But ES 2020 introduces a super cool new feature that is called optional chaining. Optional chaining allows you to access deeply nested object properties without worrying if the property exists or not. If it exists, great. If not, undefined will be returned. To use the optional chaining, we use the question mark symbol on the optional object property. In this case, the threads. Let's see if that fixes it. And it does. That's great. We have this strange format here because we need the call full class on the root element of our component. Let me fix that quickly. Now it looks nice. Notice though that here we have just a word thread because optional chaining returns undefined and not 0. So when a forum has no threads, we see this thread. You can decide how you want to implement this. You might even want to leave it like that. I want to use the optional chaining so you folks have it in your code. So I will go ahead and apply a second ternary operator in the template that if length is defined, we will do that, and if it is undefined, I will display no threads. Let's see if that works. It does, that's awesome. But this makes the template look complex, so you might want to extract it to a method. I will do that. I will create a method and I will call it forum threads word. This method should accept a parameter forum. I will paste what we have in the template in here. Before I try to do the refactor myself, I will use WebStorm's refactor option that transforms ternary operator to if-else. This is a nice feature. I will just remove the optional chaining from inside the if block because here we know the forum has threads, as that's what we test in the if condition. Great! Let's use it in the template and check back in the browser. Excellent! We can now see all the forums and also all the errors have gone away. Notice how we correctly see the word thread or threads depending on the threads count. And when there are no threads, we display no threads. Good job! Since we used router links, we can navigate to a forum by clicking on its name. Pretty neat. Now our home page displays all the available forums.